Hello, Catherine Foley here, and I'm going to read from my book Beyond the Breakwater, which came out 2 years ago, published by Mercier Press. And today's chapter is chapter 49, and it's called Frawley's. Frawley's department store on Thomas Street in the Liberties is gone now. The shop had been a presence on the street for over 100 years, but it closed its doors forever in 2007. In its final years, when I used to wander in, it had begun to wind down and had become a sleepy place of business. It was the place I loved most to go shopping. From the first day I wandered in there, I found it restful and easy in its unpretentious dowdiness. I loved the value to be had in its range of sheets and pillowcases. I waded past its hip-high counters in a soft glow of relaxation. It became a sort of retreat and a sanctuary for me. I'd meander in there on days when I needed to escape this workaday world. And I'd relax, looking through plastic bathroom accessories and shelves of out-of-season Christmas decorations. It felt like a home from home for me. It harked back to another time. It felt like a church in some ways, but it was also non-judgmental. There was no sense that God and the saints and the souls might be watching. I didn't have to imagine them frowning or shaking a finger at me in disapproval. Frawley's made no demands. I'd spend an hour happily rummaging through shelves of cotton quilt covers, voluminous and minuscule towels, and extravagantly coloured shower curtains. Whether I spent money or not seemed to be a matter of indifference to the staff. The motley collection of shoppers who rambled in did not excite the assistants too greatly, and that is a balm to any browser. The assistants usually chatted amongst themselves, engrossed in their conversations, laughing but ready to be helpful if necessary. They allowed us shoppers to take our time and go to a till at our leisure. They'd serve in a most languorous and elegant fashion. It made me feel happy and blessed. I bought extra large pale blue and pink bloomers from the hosiery department for my petite mother at home to make her laugh and to keep her warm. She'd heard the ad for Frawley's Frawleys on the radio one day and recognised it as the place I raved about. I told her how I roamed the aisles of the shop in search of bargains, and she used to imagine me there. They stocked highly useful items, such as the full range of Hoover bags, all manner of fuses, cheap but essential moisturising creams and lotions, as well as shampoo and hair conditioner for hair of every hue and texture. I bought a green dressing gown there once. I bought a pair of jeans for €20, the kind that artists wear when they work in oils on large canvases, and these were admired by one and all. I bought sheets to beat the band, duvet covers to fit a landlady's double bed, and a brass coal scuttle with its own matching shovel that still shines brilliantly by the fire on a winter's night. There was a jumble of jazz and soul CDs on offer upstairs, plus old-fashioned and up-to-the-minute DVDs. I used to dangle my fingers over the titles, feeling decadent at the wanton waste of my time on such frivolities and carrying on regardless. I got trousers for my father, which had a special tailor's pleat in the waistband at the back in order to allow the fold to expand when seated, as the draper's assistant pointed out to me. I was gently assisted and directed in all my choices. I bought bulbs, colourful oilcloths for my kitchen table, and sieves, colanders and chopping boards for next to nothing. Maybe I was drawn in there because the floors of worn linoleum reminded me of my grandmother's kitchen of long ago. They had that lovely solid yet softly sinking feeling underfoot. It was so familiar to walk on. Or was it that my fellow customers were busy looking for bargains and trying to make ends meet, not wanting to strike a pose or strut a certain naughty style? This was a zone of wearisome commerce. It was like stepping into a lukewarm bath. I sometimes hesitated at the door when that feeling of familiarity was too cloying to be endured. Would I go in or not? Some days I would not go in at all, gagging on the shop's requirement to submit to its weary, old-fashioned vibe. But most days it was just what I needed. The ambience, the tone and tenor of the shop lapped about me and enveloped me in its calm, gravy-like easiness. As a new house owner, I picked up many a useful knick-knack. To me, the shop was a jewel in the liberties. It was my Mecca on days when life was sharply etched in shrieks and frenzy. Frawley's, familiar and undemanding, called out to me, a stopping-off place where I could take a breath and think, wonder about my life and where I was headed, wonder if God in the church across the street was missing me, watching me, or even aware of me. I loved earwigging in Frawley's, feeling like a modern-day Proust. The staff often carried on complicated conversations, such as about the rights and wrongs of a relationship, as they batted back and forth while serving a customer and packing a bag. Not missing a beat, the balance of power between the two assistants could tip dangerously from benign and friendly to suspicious and intolerant. I still recall the face of a determined young cashier with nervous eyes and pouting mouth, authoritatively staring down her young underling. In comparison, the underling's pliant nature with bristling skin reminded me of the pointillism I had once seen in an exhibition on Impressionism in the Tate, in London. The shop is gone now, and I wandered the streets looking for a new sanctum. I sometimes went through the doors of the darkened church across the road from where Frawley's used to be, and I'd settle there for a moment to think. It was not the same. I never came away with a bargain. I will always be grateful and nostalgic for Frawley's. It was a faithful friend of sorts, giving me my first foothold in the liberties when I moved there. One could never forget a friend like that, and more so when they are no longer with us. So that's all for today. Thank you for listening. Bye now. Talk tomorrow.